What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. In this video, we are going to preview the Auburn Tigers roster, their 2020 roster on NCAA Football 14, which of course is what we're calling NCAA Football 21, because that's what the game would be if we still had it today. This is part of our updated rosters. We continue to add more and more teams, and if you want to get these updates, play with these updated rosters, you've got to join us on Patreon. Join us on Patreon. There is a link in the description of this video and every video that we post here on YouTube. Join us. You get these updated rosters. You're going to get some other things like updated schedules for the 2020 schedule. That's going to be coming pretty soon. You get a playoff mod. There are a lot of other things that you can get if you join us on Patreon. So check it out and see if that's something you would like to do. And as I've said, the more people that we get on Patreon, the faster we will be able to complete these rosters. Before we get into the roster preview, just wanted to quickly tell you how all of you can help out with these rosters and help us to make them as accurate as possible. If there are number changes for players, if there are incorrect years that you see on this roster, please let us know. Some of these rosters we started doing back before even the spring rosters had been released, so some of the freshmen didn't have numbers yet, and we're just going to go back and do those later. Or maybe some players changed their numbers. Maybe a guy got redshirted last year and we missed that, and we've got him as a senior and actually they're a redshirt junior or something along those lines. So if you see any of that, you can help us out there. Also, players that are no longer on the roster, maybe players that transferred, that we had not taken off yet, you can remind us of those players, which of course I'm always checking the transfer portal. I'll come back and get that anyways, but it would just help out if something is put out there for us to make sure we don't miss it. A player that maybe has transferred, or a player that is not really expected to play much, not really on the two deep. If they're an upperclassman, we'll probably take those guys off the rosters and just tell us who you think they should be replaced with. Who do you think should be on this roster that is not? If it's a young player, a freshman, maybe they don't play, but they're still going to stay on the roster because you got to have those young players. The ratings are pretty much set, though. We have a specific formula that we use that's based off of a bunch of different numbers, stats. We use NFL Draft Scout for 40 times. If a player's not on there, we use their recruiting rating. A lot of different things. I'm not going to get into all of that, but those are pretty much set. You can make suggestions if you think a guy should go up or down if you'd like, but they're probably not going to change, at least until the depth charts come out, because at that point we will make some adjustments. We're not going to have a backup running back rated higher than a starting running back. Obviously that would make no sense, so there could be a little bit of adjustments there. Also, when the all-conference, all-American teams are announced, we may tweak some players in those cases as well, but for the most part it's all based off of this formula. Heights and weights, don't worry about that. We will come back and we will get all of those when the fall rosters are released, because those numbers can change anyway, so there's no point in trying to update that and then it changes again. So we'll knock that out once the fall rosters come out. But if you have any help here, if you guys follow your team closer than anyone, if this is your team, you probably know a little bit more about them than I do, and maybe you know some things that I just have missed or whatever. You can help us make these rosters as accurate as possible by giving us this information. I'll be constantly coming back and checking these comments. When I see something that jumps out, I'll make a note, and when I get back on that team, I will make the adjustments. And you will, again, have a chance to get these rosters even if you don't join us on Patreon. Of course, if you join us on Patreon, you can get these rosters right now. You can get all the updates, and I really would encourage you to do that just to help us kind of speed up this process with a little bit of funding. But if you can't, that's fine. We will probably, more than likely, we're going to release these rosters once they're complete. So it may be August or whatever, but we will give them out for free at some point. And also, you can just help us to make sure our simulations are as accurate as possible as we begin to ramp those up as well. But if you have any information here, please feel free to comment down below and give us any updates that we need to make. Here are the top players for the Auburn Tigers. You see KJ Britt is their highest rated player, 93 overall. And then you got Seth Williams, a 90 overall, top wide receiver on this team from last season. Anthony Swartz is an 89, not necessarily because of his receiving stats, but more because of his speed. As you see there, 99 speed, the fastest player in college football. Then you got Nick Brahms at center. He's an 89. the only returning starter on this offensive line. Zacoby McClain at linebacker as well. He is an 86. Christian Tutt, an 86. Eli Stove, 85, another speed guy. Owen Papo is an 85 at linebacker. Truesdell, defensive tackle, 84. And then DJ Williams, an 83 at running back. So those are the top players for this Auburn team. And as you see how their rosters come out. And if you think that the numbers are a little low, because obviously there's only one player over 90 here, and you think that maybe there's some kind of bias here. Remember, guys, I'm an Auburn fan. There is a strict formula that I use for these rosters that is based off of stats and other numbers. There is nothing that I just make up, and so this is just the way it comes out. And speed is such a big factor on these ratings. That's why you see Anthony Schwartz is a 99. If you go and look at, and I'll just show you this. And again, if you get these rosters, join us on Patreon, you can see all of the everything with these ratings. See his catching, it's 8 behind Seth Williams. And his spectacular catch is way behind his catch. So he's well below Seth Williams in his receiving numbers. But you see the speed. Speed is 99 compared to 87. That's why his rating is an 89, even though Seth Williams has much better receiving stats here. So that just kind of shows you, again, how much speed plays into these ratings, and it's really for a lot of positions. Speed is very important on this game. We go to the quarterbacks. Bo Nix, just an 82. If we were going by his stats from the home games last year, it'd probably be a 95, and if we went by the away games, he'd probably be about a 70, because it was like night and day when you look at his numbers at home and away. But it does come out to be an 82. Very good runner, 83 speed. You've got Cord Sandberg, a 74, and Shael Garnett, the true freshman, a 72. At the running back position, DJ Williams, an 83. Sean Shivers, an 82. And there's Tank Bigsby, the freshman. He's an 81. Could have a little bit of a three-headed monster going on there. Mark Anthony Richards also figures to be in the mix at 79. And then Malik Miller, 74. And you see, he's only a 77 speed. That shows you why maybe his rating is a little bit lower. They do have Harold Joyner, a fullback, who's kind of, he can play running back, the H-back, whatever, kind of a versatile player, but we've got him as a fullback. Receivers, and we've already shown you 3 of these. Seth Williams is a 90, Schwartz an 89, and Stove an 85. Then you go to Matthew Hill, an 80, Kobe Hudson, a freshman, an 80, J.J. Evans, a 78, Capers, a 78 as well, Shedrick Jackson, a 72, and then Zach Farrar, a 72 as well. So we'll see what they can get from these receivers this season. Tight ends, Jeremiah Hughes, a 75. He is a true freshman. Then you got Brandon Frazier, a 73. Tyler Fromm, a 72. And John Samuel Shanker, a 66. Now, this is a perfect example of how the depth charts are going to affect ratings, because these players, none of these players have enough stats to affect their rating. So it's all really based off of their recruiting rating. But let's say Shanker is the #1 tight end. Well, he's going to go up. His rating will be higher than these other guys. And so you can see him go from 66 all the way to 76. So keep that in mind when you look at the tight ends. And it's going to be interesting to see who winds up being really the guy that sees the field at that tight end position for Auburn. On the offensive line, Brodarius Ham, a 76. Zaire, a 72. You see, this offensive line is going to be a question mark. Tashawn Manning, a 74 at left guard. And then you got Jeremiah Wright, a 69. There's Nick Brahms, the one guy that is back on the offensive line. He's an 89. And Avery Jernigan, a 73. A lot of freshmen here. Irvin, a 74. And then Tate Johnson, a 70. It's like every backup, it seems, is a freshman. Prince Salmons, an 80. And then you got Brendan Coffey, a 70. Could be some other guys, maybe sophomores or juniors that get into a backup role instead of these freshmen. We'll have to see how the depth chart looks, and again, we'll make adjustments if we need to. No spring practice, no spring depth charts makes it very challenging to put these rosters together. That's why, again, I say there will be updates. Derek Hall at defensive end, 81. Could be the next great one for them. You got a freshman at 79 and DeAndre Butler at 73. On the other side, Big Cat Bryant, 83. Was surprised his numbers were not higher. He seems like a pretty good player in my opinion, and made a lot of big plays for Auburn, but only an 83 with the formula scale that we use. TD Moultrie, only a 79. Handy, a 79. and Daniel Foster Allen, a 71. Going to defensive tackle now, there's Truesdell again, an 84. Newkirk, a 79. Jay Hardy, a 79, just a true freshman. Miller, 77. And Marquise Burks, a 71. Linebacker, there's Papo, an 85. Look at the speed, 89 speed. That is very fast for a linebacker. He could probably play safety, honestly. You've got Chandler Wooten in there, a 79. And then O.C. Brothers, redshirt freshman, 69. Middle linebacker, there's Britt again, 93. Steiner, 79. Tisdale at a 74. There's Jacoby McClain, 86. Height, a 71. And Josh Marsh, a 67. So one of the things you notice here is their starters are pretty good, but depth might be a little bit of an issue. But again, players that don't have stats are not going to have very high ratings, and these players could be better than what you see here. There's Christian Tutt, 86. At the cornerback position, Roger McCreary, an 81, and Jordan Peters, an 83. Experienced guys at the cornerback spot. Zion Puckett, a 76. Devin Baird, who used to be a running back, 75. Tennyson, a 74, and DeMio, a 72. Free safety, Smoke Monday, 73. Chris Thompson Jr., a 75. And Jalen Simpson, a 72. Strong safety, you got Jamian Sherwood, an 83. Eric Reed, 75. Malcolm Askew, a 74. The kicker, Anders Carlson, is an 81. And Evan McGuire, a 65. The punter. The kickers and punters ratings are probably going to change. I'm not going to get into all of that, but just keep that in mind. You could see their numbers, their ratings go up before we actually get the completed roster. So again, this is the Auburn Tigers roster. The ratings for each player, as you see here. If there's anything that you see that's incorrect, and I don't think they had, when I did this, I don't think they had listed their spring roster yet or had given numbers to the freshmen, so I don't think I messed with numbers at all. But if you notice anything that is incorrect, or if they do release numbers and you want to fill those in for me, please feel free to do that down in the comments below. Or perhaps there's a player that you think is going to play a lot that I left off. Let me know who that is. If you add a player, remember though, you have to take a player off. And if you take a player off, you've got to add a player. So if you do make suggestions to this roster in the comments, make sure you do that. But again, your thoughts are down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.